Hey everyone, it's Cece again. I'm here with a review for Love is Blind Season 6. Shit's messy. Quite messy. And you know we love some mess. So let's get started. Episode 1. First thing I have noted is AD body. Because Lord have all the mercy, she is looking great. One of the first things that I noted was just around her connecting with Matthew. And I've watched up to episode 6 now, so I definitely have a change of heart. But in episode 1, it was just really a question of who AD was connecting with. And Matthew was definitely up there. So next on the list is Trevor. And with Trevor, he mentioned that, people get the wrong impression of me because I'm a big guy, And in his confessionals, he led with the physical, talk about how he's a big guy, mentions sex and all of that. And I'm just like, okay, people get the wrong impression of you because of how you look, but you lead with how you look. So Trevor, make it make sense. But I mean, even later into the episode, he notes that he's ready for marriage with Chelsea, which is interesting. Next, we have Jessica, who is an executive assistant. With Jessica in the first episode, she feels good about Jimmy. She walked into the pod. She made a note. She's like, my husband. And she's like, oh my gosh, did I mean to say that out loud? And I'm like, yo, you lying ass. You meant to say it. You just wanted to see what his response would be. I rolled my eyes, but whatever. We'll let it slide. She mentioned that she wants so badly for her daughter to see her happy. And that statement didn't sit well with me because I feel like as a mother, especially, like, you wouldn't want to teach your daughter that she can only be happy with a man by her side. And that's essentially what you're teaching her. If you're saying that you want her to be happy and the way she will see you happy is if you have a man by her side or if you have a man, period. So that was a little disconcerting, but let's keep it going. Next, we have Jimmy. The first thing that came to mind with Jimmy is that he's Mr. All Around American. He notes that he felt good about Jessica, and then I think later in the episode, Jessica mentioned that she's a mother, and he asked her, why didn't you tell me earlier? That question sat with me like, okay, so it bothers him. Next on the list, Lottie, and this, okay, we have Matthew. Now, Matthew came off a bit odd. Production is creating the stories that they want us to see, but when it came to Matthew, we saw him walking out on a lot of the girls. He kind of presented awkwardly. My first impressions of him was like, oh, well, he's just an awkward guy. That definitely changed, though. For all those quote-unquote good guys. Yeah, my foot. Next, we have Clay. And Clay, wow, when he did that voice switch up, I was like, oh my God. But yeah, he seems fun, seems enthusiastic. He seemed very like energetic connecting with AD. The thing that got me is that he forgot AD's name, and she definitely mentioned it the first time that they met. So that wasn't a good look, but I guess it was just a blip because they were just meeting for the first times. And he was talking about his dad, and he's like, my dad is smooth, suave, and I look up to him. You look up to your dad, that's cool, but your dad is smooth, suave, so you look up to being smooth and suave. I didn't like that. No, sir, no. I got red flags immediately. But we're gonna keep we're gonna keep our good eye on him. Smooth and suave is not necessarily what you're looking for in a marriage. Okay, so next person, Johnny. So Johnny right out the gate likes Amy. He likes Amy, says he likes her accent. I have written here Catalana. Because the way she pronounced it, I was like, okay. Okay, mamacita. They had some, I guess, pretty standard conversations about coming from big family and blah, 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 blah. Nothing really jumped out about Johnny. He seemed like a nice guy. Seemed like his head was in the right space compared to some of the others later on. Episode 1, I'm seeing it for Johnny, and I'm liking his conversation and who he presents to be, because we don't really know people. People are out here playing games and faking who they are. Next on Next on the list is Chelsea. And I'm laughing about Chelsea because of something that came up in a later episode. So I'll mention it when I talk about it in the later episode. But with Chelsea, she seems like a cool girl. All of the girls seem like cool girls. In what I have noted here, she did mention, I think it was to Trevor. I think she mentioned to Jimmy that she was previously married. Felt a weird vibe from Jimmy right after she shared that. The thing is, she revealed that to Jimmy after homegirl Jessica revealed to Jimmy that she was a mother. So I guess Jimmy was getting hit from every side. Like, I'm not the first for nobody. I'm not special. It seemed like she was connecting with Jimmy. She mentioned that she likes Trevor, or I think I just like her with Trevor more than I like her with Jimmy. I really do like Trevor better for her. When it comes to episode 1, it was pretty chill. We're just getting to meet the people. That's all the notes that I have for episode 1. There was not a lot. With episode 2, we start off with the guys chatting. The guy's chatting and joking about Matthew and how much of a weirdo he is. We get introduced to Jeremy. What he said kind of turned me off. Like, he said, growing up, there was a lot of chaos and he's looking for that. He's looking for chaos. I'm like, what? What? So we're on a show looking for a wife, looking for marriage, looking for a life partner. And you come off the scene from jump saying that you're looking for chaos. And one thing about people is they tell on themselves. And we're on episode 2 right now, and I just finished watching episode 6, but we see the previews and we see that chaos has come into the building with this guy. So it's like, yeah, he's already telling us what he wants. When I heard that, I'm like, okay, Jeremy is done for. Actually, the first thoughts that come to my mind about Jeremy is that he comes off as obnoxious. We get introduced to Laura, and she is one of Jeremy's love interests. And so with Laura, when they were talking, what did she say? She has OCD for cleanliness, blah, blah, blah. Sarah Ann is one of Jeremy's love interests as well. So, we're kind of seeing foreshadowing the love triangle in boxes. Sarah Ann, I don't know why I have in quotations here blank. I don't know what that means, but yeah, when I saw her, the first things that came up to me is lip injections. And she confirms this actually later in the future episodes. So I'm like, okay, I was right about that. Sarah, seems to be, the type of girl that would get lip injections. I don't know. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? She just seems like that girl who likes to look nice and likes to have attention. Next person, Amy. Amy. So, actually, you know what? I was about to say we didn't see Amy the last episode, but we did. This second episode, she mentions about having an autistic and ADHD brother. And she seems to be connecting with Johnny. They're connecting on this family values type of thing. Johnny says he loves Amy. Later in the episode, slips up. He's like, oh, I love you. And everybody they propose and engage each other, and they are the first couple. Congratulations, Amy and Johnny. Okay, so I feel like Amy and Johnny are just like, okay, that old couple over there, like they're just like, okay, cool. Cool over there. Not really exciting, but they're good for each other. Next on the list, AD. So AD says that she's feeling like a fool, which obviously because of Matthew and his raggedy ass. She actually confronted Matthew, and she was asking a lot of great questions. I thought Matthew, like, he really got us good talking about America. Like, motherfucker, get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. And that's the thing, like, because when you first see him, be like, oh, he's a good guy, he's not a flashy dude. These quote unquote good guys are just as fucked up as the flashy ones. AD confronts Matthew. She was asking some really great questions like, you sound devastated. Is it because Amber is gonna? That got me cackling. I was really excited to hear that. I thought that was hilarious by Matthew. The thing that got me is that Matthew kept saying, oh, it was not the same. It was not the same what I said to you versus what I said to her. And these are how dudes are so manipulative. 95% of what you told AD about to Amber, I think her name was the same. It was the same. And you pick the 5% and say, oh, well, the 5% wasn't the same. I didn't tell her that. It's like, yo, throw these guys in the trash. Throw Matthew in the bin. I was rolling my eyes the whole time. AD was giving it to him too. It's like, you sniffling, you crying? Is it because Amber left? Honestly, he's a coward. I don't believe a word he said. That's why you can't. The nice guys, the bad guys, they're all guys. They're all the same, honestly. They really are. So I'm glad like Matthew got thrown in the bin. After that conversation, AD goes to Clay and they connect. I mean, the thing with Clay is he definitely comes off as so insecure. I couldn't be with somebody as insecure as him. He made note that his ego like was bruised. It's funny when AD mentioned, oh, Matthew is my other connection. He's like, Matthew. Oh, Matthew. He looked so bewildered. And I think he mentioned it like afterwards. He was just like, wow, Matthew is my competition. He definitely seemed dismissive of AD when she was talking. He was giving not emotionally available, but he started crying. He was really tripping up over Matthew. But after that, AD did have that conversation with Amber. I love this season of Girls. Like, you can definitely see that there's some contention. Of course, they're all dating the same guys, developing feelings, blah, blah, blah. But I love that they're girls. I love that they look out for one another. But she did bow out after that. Episode 2, we get introduced to Kenneth. He's the high school principal, the 25-year-old high school principal. He connected with Brittany. They had an interesting conversation. It came off as not wanting to communicate. Like, I don't want to explain it. Just want it to be done. Just want it to be what it is. And it was just like, oh, okay. You don't want to communicate. Cool. And that's the thing is, Brittany was also agreeing with that. And actually, Brittany did come off as a little interesting when she says she wants to be led. I was just like, okay. But they both come from that religious background, so it makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense for them. Next on my list is Jimmy. Seems to be connecting more with Chelsea. I was thinking maybe it's production just because of the footages that we were seeing between Jimmy and Autumn's mom. It's funny because in my notes, I forgot her name was Jessica. And for a couple of pages, her name is just Autumn's mom. And, I apologize. You definitely are an individual, Jessica. But yeah, for a while, I was just like, oh, Autumn's mom. He mentioned this. 90% of the convo with Chelsea is laughs. And I'm just like, yo, bruh, we not supposed to be connecting with people who it's not that deep with. Like, what's going on? Let's be for real. We're connecting with our life partners. And then they're both back and forth in the pods talking about not that deep, not too deep, it's not deep. I was shaking my head. Like, I really feel like people need to get a clearance, some type of certification to confirm that they're ready for a relationship. Because the fact that you're saying, oh, 90% of our convos is laughs. So that tells me you're not really talking. You're not getting to know each other. You're just laughing. You're just laughing. You're about to connect with your life partner. Your marriage is for life, right? It's a very serious endeavor. People don't recognize this. That's why the marriage rates, the divorce rates, I should say, are so fucking high. But please, that's probably not a person that you should be attaching yourself to for the rest of your life. With Jimmy, he seems to be connected more with Chelsea, but says he likes Autumn's mom more because of her experiences. That was a little odd. To be honest, I really like Chelsea with Trevor. I like their back and forth. It seems so much more fun. And remember how I was talking about Chelsea in episode 1 and I laughed? Is because of this particular episode when Jimmy and Chelsea were going back and forth, and Jimmy's like, oh, what what celebrity you look like? And Chelsea said Megan Fox. I was Megan Fox. I had to Google it real quick, and I don't know if Google helped or not, but people were mean because the picture of Chelsea compared to Megan Fox did not put her in the most flattering light. But I mean, I guess I could see it if I took off my glasses. I could see it. And so now whenever I see her, I think of Megan Fox and I just burst out laughing because it's like, okay. I guess to be fair, she said it's only because of the dark hair and the blue eyes. That was the end of episode 2. Now with episode 3, it starts off, I should say, with the engagement between Amy and Johnny. My first note is, why is she wearing funeral clothes? She mentions though that Johnny's not her type. He turned so red. I was really wishing Vaseline upon them, but that's neither here and there. They both look cute. Yo, Laura is a hoot. I love Laura sharing her techniques with the girls. I'm telling you, I love the girls. I love the girls this season. Like, they're really girls. Like, of course, there's a little bit of contention, but overall, they seem to be happy for each other. Laura was killing me with her jokes. Next, I have Clay. He's still freaking out. Like, he seems strung out, which was really interesting because it's just like, oh, why are you so hyper vigilant? Like, I don't know. Anyways, he apologized to AD and it felt sincere after the last time where he was trying to get AD to describe how she looked. Why is Jamal so thick? He was like bulging out of his pants. I'm like, yo, bro, get a size bigger. Like, come on now. With AD, she felt great. With Clay sharing his more sensitive side. And so, yeah, AD and Clay both come out the pods cheesing happy. Next on the list, Brittany and Kenneth. Brittany, this episode, asked about ethnicity. You know, she definitely seems like a sweet girl. They got that out of the way and she said it doesn't matter, you know, blah, blah, blah. Color is neither here nor there. Kenneth proposes and they go off into their happily ever after. Laura definitely, and I'm bringing up Laura again because she seems like such a fun girl. I really do love her. With Jeremy, he was sharing his sleep apnea. He reveals though that Laura is his number 1, but he also likes Sarah. This actually is the episode where Sarah discloses that she has a little bit of filler. Like, a little bit. Says Laura is his number 1, but he thinks highly of Sarah. Whatever that means. I guess we know what that means because we see what happens later in the episodes. We go back to Jimmy, Jimmy and Autumn's mom. One thing that pissed me off here is like Jimmy started cracking his knuckles to get on her nerves. That was like, why would you purposely try to get on someone's nerves? I found that was weird. And then we go to Chelsea actually after that. And Chelsea talks about how she likes Jimmy. And Jimmy also says being with Chelsea is more flexible. And we all know what that means. They're really talking about their lives and how they just want to get up and go. And to me, what that brought up is that you can't get up and go with a child. To me, it felt like he was just thinking about her child is the issue, really and truly, at the root of it. But I really like her connection with Trevor more. Jimmy, she says Jimmy is exactly what she came here for. And to be honest, I fast forwarded through through their pod meeting because they kind of bore me. I really like her connection with Trevor more. But I also fast forwarded through her and her connection with, I think Chelsea is just boring to me. I wonder what they fell in love with about her. And it ends off with Chelsea crying to the girls about Trevor's love for her. Okay. So yeah. Ooh, we're actually on a roll. So with episode 4, peeing in the pool and peeing in the shower. It starts off with Sarah and Jeremy. I kind of skipped through. I fast forward and skipped through that. Sarah was talking about marrying Jeremy in the girls' pod, and Laura, starts doubting her connection with him. And so when Laura goes into the pod with Jeremy, she starts getting emotional speaking about it. And why do I feel like these guys are just lying? That's the note that I have for Jeremy. They're just saying what they know they have to say. They don't actually feel it, but they know that that's what they're supposed to feel if they cared. So that's why they're saying it. That's how I feel about most of these dudes, if not all of them. I guess the only people I don't feel that about right now is Johnny. Speaking of people just saying the things that they think are the right things to say, Clay and AD meet up. So they're having their chit chat. Things are going great. And he says he feels like the man he deserves to feel like. And then says he will get AD to feel like the woman she should feel like. I'm like, wait, you are feeling present tense like the man, and you will future tense make her feel that way. I don't like that. It seems unbalanced. Why can't you in this moment make her feel like the woman, just like she's making you feel like the man? You're promising something for the future and she's giving you something in the present. Didn't sit well with me. Nah, I mean. He kept saying that over and over. AD looking good as always, and they end up getting engaged. So AD gets engaged with Clay, and that dance at the end, that was funny. That was cute. Ken and Brittany, they get engaged, of course. And so what happens next? With Chelsea and Trevor, they exchanged gifts. Chelsea got a Braille rock and a collar. A collar. You should have just left it with the Braille rock, but okay. She got a collar and a Braille rock, and then Trevor got a bracelet that vibrates when she taps it. I thought that was the absolute cutest little thing. It made me want to think of getting it for my dog. Autumn's mom pours her heart out to Jimmy, Jimmy says he's excited. He appreciates it, but can't tell her how he feels or doesn't want to tell her. Two people at the same thing. I love Jessica's response to him. Jessica did not like Jimmy's response, but I love her reaction and how direct she was, I also loved her reactions and hand gestures in the background. That was funny. But I love that she gave him the business. Like, okay, you don't want to tell two people the same thing, but you don't have to. You can tell them how you feel about each of them, right? Like, it's like he's including the other person, Chelsea, when he doesn't have to. Like, you feel the same about each of them. Was that what he was trying to say? I love that Autumn ripped into his ass. It's funny. And we have Chelsea, aka Megan Fox. Jimmy has a meeting with Chelsea and tells her he loves her. To be honest, I fast forwarded most of that, but wherever I stopped at, Jimmy told Chelsea that he loves her. I'm just like, wow. And can I be honest? I kind of feel like Chelsea saying that she looked like Megan Fox influenced his decision. Is it just me? I really do feel like that influenced his decision. Whereas it was negative that she had a kid. Like, let's just be for real. Chelsea heads into the girls' room. She went and told a couple of girls that Jimmy said he loved Chelsea. Laura went and told Jessica to leave. I thought that was great. Maybe you don't think so, but I thought that was like a girl's move. If you want to have that power or you don't want to feel completely blindsided, you need to leave, because the guy that you think is your guy is not really your guy. And yeah, so yeah. I thought that was a really, noble thing for Laura to tell Jessica, because Jessica was all in. Jessica was really all in for Jimmy, and Jimmy was so sasa. And I think that maybe helped Jessica to at least recognize that things aren't going as she planned. Later in the episode, we see that AD and Clay meet. He didn't even ask, or maybe I fast forwarded. I don't think I did, but I didn't see him ask her to be his wife. Like, will you marry me? But they look happy. I didn't like her performing and strutting around her ass around. I didn't like that, so I kind of fast forwarded through that part. Beautiful dark babies. I'm like, oh my gosh, Clay. So we kind of round up episode 4 with Jimmy and Jessica. I think it was the next day. Jimmy says he doesn't want Jessica, and during this interaction, I'm like, Jessica is asking all the right questions. It's not fair to who? It's just like, bitch, I have the same motherfucking questions in my head. Ask him again. At this point, Jimmy was coming off as a little beta bitch, as the men like to say. And again, we don't see everything, how the story is being cut. It seems fair for her to react that way. And he told Jessica, oh, it's not fair. I didn't have my mind made up. It's like, you did though. By the end of the night, you did have your mind made up. And that's where it goes to this manipulation or gaslighting that these guys do when they pick and choose like what they determine to be what it is rather than what it actually is. But don't come in here making it seem like, oh, you still didn't know and it was tough, because that's what I was getting, that, oh, it's tough and it was so confusing for me. No, it wasn't confusing for you since last night, because you ended up telling Chelsea that you love her. But anyways, it was funny because she's like, you're gonna need an EpiPen. You're gonna choke. I'm like, Jessica, too many one-liners. You're gonna choke when you see me. What's she gonna say? But you didn't have anything to say, like you always do. You have to, Jessica was really giving it to him. And it was funny. And it's funny because now whenever I see Jimmy, that's all I think. After episode 4, whenever I see Jimmy, all I think of in my head is, you're gonna choke. We end off episode 4 and then we head into episode 5. The beginning of episode 5, Jimmy proposes to Chelsea. And she said yes. And at this point, I was just thinking, poor Trevor, because I really did like Chelsea and Trevor better. If I'm being honest, with Chelsea in that moment, she didn't look so happy. And then when she met up with Trevor later on, that interaction was a little bit off and weird. And Trevor, I love how the people getting rejected, or the like, people are asking really great questions. I appreciate that. AD was asking great questions to Matthew, like, you're devastated. Is it because Amber's not here? And then after, Jessica was asking great questions to Jimmy, saying, it's fair to who? And Trevor too was asking really great questions. Something that I hated, Chelsea said, she's like, I can't give my all to you right now. I'm like, what kind of a response is that? It's like removing yourself from the accountability. You can't give yourself to him. Yes, that's true. But why? It's because you don't want to. You you, Chelsea, you don't want to give your all to him. That's what it is. So don't say it like as a third person, you're out of it and you're not part of the reason why you can't give your all to. No, it's because you don't want to give your all to him. She preferred someone who was unsure about her over someone who was 100%, which got me to thinking, because it's like, yo, honestly. He also asked another great question. If he had asked for it, would she have said yes? And she couldn't answer that, it seemed, from the cut that we saw, which was really bad for Jimmy, because it's like she just wants to be chosen, and she got, and that's the thing, because I mentioned, right? She didn't look so particularly happy when Jimmy proposed and she said yes. Like, it just seemed like she was in the moment and she said yes. She said yes because he asked her, not because she really, I don't know. That's the feeling that I got. So when Trevor asked this question and she couldn't give an answer, it's like, okay, yeah, I was right with what I was feeling. Like, you, girl. I'm not really a fan of Chelsea, to be honest. What did she end up saying? I just need you to know that it was hard for me. And okay, it was hard for you and you chose somebody else. What was your point of saying that? Like, you wanted him to feel bad for you that you didn't choose him? With the final couple, Jeremy and Sarah sit down for a talk. I love how direct Jeremy was with Sarah, unlike Jimmy's wavering and wibbly wobbly ass. He was very direct with Sarah. Sarah took it well. She asked if there was anything that she did. It seemed like a good breakup. The word that she kept using was sure. 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 I was like, okay. Sarah went back to the girls pod and told Laura, she's like, it's you. He wants you. And in that conversation, it seemed like they were foreshadowing with the convo that happened between Laura and Sarah. And actually, after watching the previews for episode 6, yeah, they definitely were. Yeah, next, we see Jimmy and Chelsea meet. And I was cracking up because, like I mentioned, right, after that last meeting between Jimmy and Jessica, whenever I see Jimmy, I always hear, you're gonna choke. You're gonna choke. But yeah, him and Chelsea meet. They didn't seem, they seemed happy, I should say that. But Jimmy's nonverbal communication kind of projected that he didn't necessarily like what it seemed. Like, when they hugged, his eyes looked disinterested. So that kind of made me think that they didn't like, or he specifically didn't like her. Laura and Jeremy was pretty uneventful match. They seemed happy, wrapped up in each other, you know. Jeremy definitely seems like a goofball. And this is the part where they go to the beach and they meet each other, like, as a couple. Jeremy definitely seemed like a goofball. I wouldn't like him because he's too much of a goofball. Jimmy and Chelsea, I fast forwarded them. Sorry, guys. They looked like dweebs. Why is my note like that? They look like dweebs. They don't give me much of anything. I'm quite bored with their coupling. Ken and Britt, I loved Ken starting off with the traditions, like, before the end of each day, we're going to connect. And did it. To me, it came off as he wants to connect with her each day to make sure that they're still on the same page and make sure that they're keeping up with each other. So I like that. Clay and AD, yo, AD looked really good. Looked so good. And Clay, Did I mention that Clay looks like he's strung out on someone? Like he's always like his eyes are darting, like he's always like I don't know, intense. Like I don't know. I like that he cleaned up sexualizing her because he was definitely doing that. We appreciate you, Clay. I don't know if one of the producers or something is like, yo, you need to clean this up because the footages that we have of you don't at least presented that he does have respect for her as his wife. And then finally, Johnny and Amy, they're cool. So they're the low-key boring but cute. And so we get to the miss. Okay. Episode 6, y'all. Oh my gosh. Okay. So with episode 6, they all meet each other. The girls are giddy with each other, and I love how they're like, oh, so friendly, giddy giddy. Also, something that popped up in this episode was that all the guys were sharing so much with AD. I don't know if that was just the cut, but so I'm gonna go through them couple by couple. Johnny and Amy, they seem to be gelling. The boring old couple. There was nothing much else. Ken and Britt. Look at me with the nicknames for these people. Kenneth and Brittany. Ken and Britt. So for them, it was looking and feeling like it was easy. Ken shared with AD how much he likes Britt, but they also had a black conversation. That sounds funny. How it would actually look like in the real world with Brittany raising black children and what have you. So got a little bit deep. Also with Ken talking to Clay, he's like, I see you, my G. I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah, AD seemed to be a hit. And I guess it's just the cut of how it was presented to us. Okay, so let me not go into a deep dive about that. But yeah, Ken definitely said, I see you, my G. And we all know in the black community what that means. He was talking about AD and how AD looks. Speaking of which, Clay and AD this episode, they look like they were gelling. We're back on the physicality, the looks. Clay said he would tell AD if she looked out of shape. And I got the feeling, is Clay telling AD what she wants to hear, or does he actually feel like strongly about what he's saying to her? I'm leaning towards the former. He's telling her what she wants to hear. It really caught me off guard because AD says that she doesn't deserve love. Like, she was talking about her journey with therapy and really unpacking her childhood. In that, she said she feels like she doesn't deserve love. But I like that Clay reaffirmed her. And one thing about it, I really love AD and Laura's friendship. Side note, like when they all met each other, I really love their I really like the girls and how they connect with each other, to be honest. But yeah, it was cute watching them. Next couple, Jim and Chelsea. Look at me, Jimmy and Chelsea. You're gonna choke. You're gonna choke. And Megan Fox. Okay. So yeah, Chelsea gives Natalie none tease. Is it just me? This episode, we find out that both their types are the people that they rejected. So Jim likes, small, petite, whatever, and then Chelsea likes big buff. I feel like Jim is trying to convince himself that he's happy with the relationship. Maybe I'm wrong, but it just feels like Jim is like going on and on about how great and the relationship smooth as butter. To be honest, I fast forwarded through some of their scenes together because it's just like I don't know. I'm not feeling. Later in the episode, actually, we do see that Jim was entranced with AD. It's like she's stacked. Left Chelsea hanging a little bit. That's what the cut made it seem like. But to be honest, I didn't think Chelsea was in the bad for calling it out. It's like, let's be open and honest we both have eyes. We both can see, yes, she is sacked. And what's wrong with acknowledging that? And Jimmy seemed to take that as embarrassing. I didn't see an issue with Chelsea calling it out. Chelsea was definitely feeling insecure. I did see a lot of projecting afterwards with Chelsea, with accusing Jim of not being okay when it was actually her. Yo, the way Chelsea talks when she whines is so annoying. It's like a little I don't know. It was coming off like, okay, girl. But apparently she just wanted Jim to take what she was saying and just take it. Like they seemed to apologize towards the end of the night. I kind of fast forwarded. She said she felt inconvenienced by Jimmy, and it's true because he was standing off with AD having a deep convo. Mind you, the convo with AD was about Chelsea, but it would have been great if he didn't forget about Chelsea and actually pulled her in and they could all have a conversation together. Jim was not reading the room for sure. But yeah, I fast forwarded through them. Laura and Jeremy. This is the last couple, and seems like Laura is allowing Jeremy to have space for his big personality. They seem to be meshing. To be honest, I wasn't feeling her telling him what to wear. It didn't sit well with me, just like it wouldn't sit well with me if a guy was telling a girl, oh yeah, you can wear this, you can't wear that. Come on, let's have the same energy. So yeah, I didn't like that. They seemed like they were meshing. So that was cool. And then we come to Bean Dip. Bean Dip in and of itself what seemed funny to me. It seemed like obviously a joke. I'm unsure why or how it became so serious. It definitely seemed like a simple joke to start. Maybe AD made it serious because Clay seemed serious when he said, don't do that to my whatever wife or fiance or my girl. I don't know why Jeremy was so upset. Also, I don't know. To me, it feels like they didn't show something, like the production cut some stuff out because everybody was laughing. It was funny, but somewhere in there, it took a nasty turn and became not so lighthearted. And Jeremy seemed to get really upset to the point where he walked up and left. That was really weird to me. That's where we end off. Jeremy and Laura are in a tiff, not seeing eye to eye, and Jeremy just seems really emotional. Again, I don't know how, production is cutting this. Seems a little bit off at times, but it's fun. It's a hoot. My favorite couples, the cutest couples in my opinion, I would say number one has to go to Clay and AD. They really look great. If it wasn't for the end of the relation, like the end of the relationship, the end of the episode, I would say Jeremy and Laura also look to be a cute couple, but I'm gonna remove them and replace them with Johnny and Amy. They've been married for 50 years. They were married in their past life. They're just like, yeah, cute couple. Chelsea and Jimmy. I don't see it for them. I don't see it for them. You could really Jimmy really looked so confused. I was fast forwarding it, but even fast forwarding it, I could see that he looked confused, which was hilarious. I don't think they're gonna make it. They don't come off as like they would be the least cutest couple, and I even say cute not just physically, but like just in their interaction, the way that they engage with each other. I'm not feeling them. And then who else do we have? Oh, we have Kenneth and Brittany. Ken and Britt, KB. If it wasn't for the preview, I would say that they look like they could be really good too. They were a cute couple as well. The preview has got my mind reeling for real. We'll see what happens. And who's the other couple? So yeah, that's all of them. I definitely think, I guess right now, if I had to put money on someone, it would be Amy and Johnny. I ain't putting money on none of them, none of the rest of them. Just Amy and Johnny for now, but we'll see how that goes. Thanks for hearing me out while I rant and rave for episode 7. I'll look forward to you then. Bye.